Hi there, hey, Mr. Bills here again. We're going to do something a little beyond blind contour drawing. We're going to take some of the same kind of focus and attention on what you're looking at, and we're still going to draw another hand, but this time you're going to look at the hand, you're going to look at the paper, you're going to erase and fix, and take some extra time to do this drawing as accurately as possible. But with that said, I know these drawings aren't going to be perfect. They should you should really be able to see how you see the different bumps and curves and where things line up and all that. And I'll kind of go over how and give you a couple of tricks on how to do that. All right, first of all, your pose, I don't want you to do something flat or fist. I want you to have a hand where you can kind of just let your fingers relax so you can keep it in that pose. And I want your fingers to kind of be separated. Don't squeeze them together. Don't go like that. Just let them just kind of relax on the table, and you can do it right next to. And you'll see me doing mine. Keep it right next to your paper. I also want your thumb to kind of go in front of your fingers, so you have some things to kind of refer to as you do the drawing. This is above this, and this is over to the right of the thumbnail, and things like that. And also know that my view is a little bit different than the camera view. So when you see me do my drawing, it's going to be from what I see, but I'll try to explain what I'm looking at as we go. All right, first thing I like to do, and we're going to try to make it life size. Okay, really make it life size. So I could even go like this, take my thumb and my finger and just kind of go like that and make sure that I'm going to try to really hit that. So I know that that mark is at the base of my thumb, and this mark up here is kind of where the top of my finger might go. Then I'm going to just do some basic lines just to establish where it lays on the paper. So check this out. I'm going to put my pencil right through my thumb, and this is called finding angles. One way to do this. And I'm just going to see that I just kind of took that angle and put it right there. Then I can just kind of draw that angle and kind of lightly so we can erase it later. Make it a little darker so you can see it. Okay, so that's just where my thumb is going to lie. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to end right now, but then I can take, say, the top of my finger right there. I can take that angle and just put it above the thumb somewhere. So I know that the top of my finger is going to kind of be like that. So you just don't come over here and turn your hand. Then this part of my finger right there goes at really a different angle. Okay, so I can just kind of I'm going to just do a few of these from this knuckle right here down to the base of my thumb. There's a different angle. So I know we could do the same thing with some of the other angles. Like I could take the angle from this knuckle right here down to here, and again, it does help and I'm going to make a guess at where it is. It helps when you do this if you close one eye. So if you close one eye and look, you can just kind of really get a sense of how it might be flat. So this angle is different from this one. So this one goes down a little bit more. So I can go like that. And this finger might be over to the left or right or a little higher or lower, but I'm just kind of giving it my best guess. Here, my little finger to me, has two angles. One is coming like that. And then from the knuckle to the tip of my finger, it's changing to go down a little bit more. Whoops, so down and down. And again, they might be placed differently. That gives me a good chance to then work the contours around some of those. So you don't have to stick with those permanently as far as where they're placed. But now I like to draw what's in front first. So I'm going to use my thumb because that's in front of my fingers, and you'll see how the fingers can kind of attach to the thumb. So if I know that's the top of my drawing, I'm going to come down a little ways. So I'm going to come down a little ways and see how I'm kind of doing the same thing here. So I'm going to just kind of draw that arc, and remember the blind contour drawing, your eye and your pencil were connected. So anytime your eye moves over a curve, your pencil moves over a curve. You still want to have that same kind of mindset. And I'm going to try to, and again, I'm not going to do much erasing. I'll do a little bit. My drawing is not going to be perfect. I'm going to just try to go for it here, but give you the idea of how to do this. So it gets a little bit wider. Now, when you draw, I'm going to ask you not to do that. As much as you can, just try to draw a single line. I mean, you go back over it a time or two, but don't do this as you draw a line. I call that a hairy line. So we're going to try not to do that, and I'll try to model that as well. So here it goes wide, then it gets a little bit skinnier, and I see kind of a little indent right there. And then it's going to start to work toward that crease that goes down here. And to me, there's like a little split right down there. And I'm going to do the other side, and I want to make sure that I'm looking back and forth at my drawing a lot. And it gets a little bit narrower right in here. And the base of my thumb gets a little bit thicker. And I see a couple of little overlapping fleshy bits right there. Then the base of my thumb down here gets even wider. It has that muscle underneath the skin there. Now if I want to, I can start to put in some of the major wrinkles and things. Again, just like you did before, except now you have a little chance to make some corrections. Now when I start going up this inside part of the finger, instead of just drawing one line and then trying to draw in the wrinkles, watch what I do. I'm going to, and that goes up here somewhere. I have this little fleshy part right there. There's round it off, and I can, in my mind, I can think there's that angle. It's going to go up a little bit, right, for that wrinkle right there. So I'm going to draw that wrinkle as it kind of happens. Okay, then I'm going to start down at the base again and draw that little, we can call this like a pillow right there, or a little pad. That pad, and where I'm going to stop, if I went straight across right there, I see it happening almost in the middle of my thumbnail. So I'm going to aim right about in there somewhere. Okay, so I have that pillow, and it goes up quite a ways, and I'm going to let it kind of, I think that's far enough up there compared to the size of everything else. This area right here starts to go at a slightly different angle, so I'm going to make sure to follow that. And I think that this will look much more natural. And that little line right there represents this crease right there. This is already looking way more natural than just drawing like I did up here. So you don't want to do that. Now I know that there's some space between my thumb and my finger, so I have to make sure that that space still happens. From my view, this little wrinkle, this crease right there, goes straight down into my thumbnail. So into my thumbnail, I'm going to make sure that crease happens. And that one kind of goes straight up. See, that goes right into my thumbnail, kind of like I see here. And I see that the tip of my finger goes outside of my thumb, right there. See that? And that is what we can think of as negative space, that in-between space between my pencil and my thumb right there. So I know I have to come out here farther. So there's that the pad of my finger kind of flat, and then it angles up, then it's going to go up to my fingernail. Then I'll go back around, kind of thinking in the same way, but I want to show you one more thing before I go into hyperspeed and we get this thing finished off. It's how these things that are behind my thumb, how you can see them and more accurately draw them. Now, from the camera view, this finger back here is really above my thumb. In my view, it's not. They kind of line up with each other. Actually, I'm going to move my thumb up just a little bit. Okay, so from my view, it looks more like that. You can see the little bump right there above my finger. So that's from my view. So if there's my thumb, I'm going to look around my thumb and see where this angle that kind of flows down now I'm pretty darn sure that that's accurate as far as where that finger begins compared to my thumb. Right up next to it, in my view, is that crease, just like one of these creases, and it kind of forms a V shape with my thumb right there. Then this angle again changes, just like we've talked about before. It starts to come down more. It's going to go out to my fingertip. And let's get that going. And my fingernail, I can just barely see a sliver of my fingernail. Now, again, on the other side of my thumb, I can see where it kind of shows itself, and then it just kind of bumps into my first finger. So that's how you can kind of get other things behind whatever you've drawn first. See where it makes contact. All right, you'll watch me do the rest of this in hyper motion, hyper speed, and we'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, now that I've finished the whole thing, now would be the time to make corrections. If I had to make some corrections, I would have made this part of my thumb a little bit thicker. I think that got kind of skinny. I could initially see more of my little finger sticking out, so I had to make an adjustment right there. That's something I could have adjusted. Maybe these fingers should have been out farther, but right now I'm not going to worry about that just for this demonstration. But that would be the time where you could make some corrections after you're finished. Again, there's no shading, only line. Remember, this is called contour line. Remember also your eye follows these contours and your pencil is kind of connected to your eye. Remember that. You still have that mindset as you're doing your drawing. And again, it should be pretty big, about life size, so you could literally kind of do that like I did at the beginning. And you could go all the way down to your wrist if you wanted to. I could, get those little wrinkles, and I could start drawing my watch, and all that stuff if I wanted to, but that's not necessary. Just get well past your thumb. If you're wearing a ring, feel free to draw that in. Really, I don't have a ring on, or one that you can really see. If you do, make sure that you really look at it as a curve, and if it looks curved in your sight, and also if you make that little bump right there and that little bump right there, if you can see it, make sure to draw that as well. That'll make it appear like it's going around your finger more, depending on if you can see it or not. All right, this will be part of a packet. Have fun with this. And if you just hate your first one, once again, try it again, turn it over, do it again, and it's all good. Remember, only line, no hairy lines. And make sure not to draw too light. If you draw lightly at first, when you finish, please go in and darken your lines. So when you take a picture of it and hand it in, or you hand it in class, I'll be able to see your drawing really easily. And this is something that can be done on a half sheet just over here. If we have other things going on here, like other blind contour drawings, if you just have half of a sheet of paper, you can turn the paper the other way and just draw it there if that's the case. Or a whole new sheet, that's fine too. All right, see ya.